What's up, heavy hitters? We're back with the next how-to video. We got a lot of great feedback, a lot of positive responses on the first video, how to build a world record deadlift. So we're back at it. We're gonna teach you how to build that world record bench. You know what I mean? So like last time, I'll give my setup, my info, all my put on the lift, on this exercise, this compound movement, and then Chris will take Sloth here through his way and the exact movements and lingo and wording and you know, what else?
Just basically put like the text behind it.
Exactly.
The wording, all that stuff like that. We want to get best of both worlds like we did last time because we got a lot of good feedback from that.
Hell yeah, so basically I'll break it down, you know, like a meathead type of shit on what I've learned over time. Little things that I've just watched people bench, people that were stronger than me, little tips that Chris has taught me, other people have taught me. Shout out to like Eric Spoto. I don't know if you guys ever known him, but he used to hold the world record bench. 722, and just knowing him and learning things from him, you know, really helped me out with my bench. Like for my experience, I don't know if you guys are like this or you guys heavy hitters, but for me, I don't like learning from someone that's not on my level of strength unless they really show me that they know what they're doing, you know? So for me, it was easy to listen to like Eric Spoto or other big benchers, and I love learning like from people like that. With Chris, he earned my respect, and over time to see how he trained and the programs he wrote, his techniques, and the longer I was with Chris, I could definitely see that this fool knew what he was talking about. Like he wasn't playing any games and just trying to look a certain way. No, he knew his shit, and he earned my respect and my trust. So now I put my trust in the heavy hitter program every single day in the dead game program. But with that being said, I don't really trust a lot of people, you know, and Chris is definitely one of them. And also it's gonna be people that are stronger than me because they've already reached that point or a point that I wanna get to. So I'll definitely like learn and pick and choose what I see that they do and try to implicate it with my technique. And, you know, if things feel right, I'll do those things, and if they don't, I won't. But yeah, that's a little tip, you know, for you guys that are new benchers and want to learn. Don't take tips from everybody, you know. Go out there. If you do learn something, go out there and try it, you know. Test it for yourself. Don't just take someone's word for it. Like I said, and if someone's stronger than you, then you know what, they probably do have something that you don't have, and pick and choose the positive things and the negative things. But someone like Chris, he has hands-on experience and he has book experience. You know, he has his bachelor's in this, so he's definitely someone that is knowledgeable in both categories. So
one thing about that situation is that before I even came on the squad, they already knew I had an education. When I got here, I actually just shut my mouth because he was stronger than me. He actually coached me a little bit as time went on. And then I let out that I knew certain things, whatever, but when you walk into a situation and someone's better than you, then you like listen. You stop and you listen because you're not better than that person. So that's why he trusted me, is because I didn't try to push where I wasn't like kind of wanted at. Same thing with Pitbull, same thing with all the other guys. So as he learned like through other bigger lifters, that's how I learned too, because I had one of the best in the world sitting right next to me. And as we talked about before in the deadlift, I actually learned better techniques from Big Boy just watching him. And he might not know why he was doing them, or he could say why he was doing them, but I knew the terminology why, you know. So we were a really good match, especially when we made the programs, because I could put the wording to behind how he was feeling, and that made a really good match for us.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you know, you got the perfect combo right here, you know. So if you guys are looking for that program and shit, look no further, you know, go to STRENGTHCARTEL.com and cop that right there. But anyways, man, enough about, you know, me and Chris and shit and the program. We want to teach you, you know, we want to teach you from our experience and his experience of how you bench, man, how you get that perfect deadlift. I mean, how you get that perfect bench, that world record, state record, national record bench, you know. Oh, and another thing, like I see some comments saying, oh, why don't you break a record before you call it a world record deadlift? Well, just so you guys know, there's all different kind of world records, especially in different federations and overall. And as Chris knows, I've broken state, national, and world records, you know? So you guys gotta know what you're talking about before you comment something stupid. I should bring in the plaques and shit. But just because I don't go and boast and show you guys that I've broken records doesn't mean I haven't done them, you know? Same with Chris. Chris has broken state records and national records as well, huh? Yeah. So just because we're not over here boasting about it doesn't mean we don't have those, you know? We're just, we keep it more to ourselves. We let our actions speak, you know? So yeah, man, before you guys speak, you know, do your research. You can look it up there online and look us up under like Powerlifting Watch or whatever, and you can see the records that are out there and where we're ranked and all that shit. You can't hide on the internet, you know what I mean? If you guys want to look to see what we've broken, it's out there. So anyways, don't question our, how do you say that shit?
Credibility.
Our resume and shit, credibility. Don't question that shit. So anyways, appreciate all the fools that did show love. All right, heavy hitters, I'm gonna take you through my bench setup and also how I actually bench press. I'm gonna use Jason as a dummy, you know what I mean? Or as a, whatever, as a model over here. And he's gonna go through exactly how I would do it, and then I'll show you how I set up and how I perform the bench right after. But first I wanna explain it in my words. So, all right, Jason, lay down on the bench. Okay, first thing is laying down. Next, I like to grip the bar with my ring fingers on the first ring right here. Put your ring fingers on the bar, Jason. Ring fingers, there you go. Okay, so now he has the ring fingers on the bar. Next, he pulls his body through the bar. Lay down, go a little bit further. I like to get the bar, before I get in my actual position, I like to have the bar like basically cut my chest. You know, it just gives a good spot for me to kind of wind my body up, and I'll show you that right now. So next step will be pull your body through and have this bar like cut you in the chest right here. So now that you're here, now leave your feet. So Jason's already kind of wound up his feet, and I don't do that. So I just put my feet basically kind of like 45-degree angle or so. You know what I mean? I kind of leave them like that, just comfortable. I put my feet comfortable. Once the bar is cutting my chest, I just have my feet comfortable right here. So now when I'm in this position right here, now I pull my body through. I keep my feet planted and I pull my body through. So you see now that he's pulled his body through, it's like, what I've learned and what people have explained to me is it's like a ruler. You know, you have a long ruler and you flex that shit and that shit's just tight. So now his whole like core's tight. His back is not completely on the bench because his back is up on his shoulder blades right here. And that's where you want to bench. You want to be up on your shoulder blades benching. And the main thing is just compressing your body, like getting that hard tension, you know, winding up like a spring, you know, like you're pushing a spring together to explode. So now you can see his feet are like wound back more in back of him. He's not like a big old arc, but he's in a ready to fire off a power position. So once you're here, I tighten my back, tighten the back over here. This shit's tightened in. The shoulder blades are tightened inside. And I'll get a deep breath, you know, before I lift. I get my breathing right, get a deep breath, and lift off. So let me take you through the lift off. So, all right, Jason, you ready? Yep. Lifts it off, takes a deep breath in before he lifts. Get the deep breath, touch your chest, go down. Once it's on his chest, when he comes up, he wants to explode off his feet, drive the energy through the feet all the way through his shoulders, and then press up. And that's basically it, you know? It's nothing too crazy, but it's good, correct form that you want to drill over and over. And we spoke about this last time. You want to get your routine and you want to practice your bench press the same way you do one plate or just the bar is the same way that I'll do 5-6 plates. You want to just drill that shit over and over and over. So I'll go perform it, my setup in the bench, and show you how I do it. But it's basically how I broke it down with Jason. That's how I perform it in my own words. So here we go. I'll show you how I do it. All right, get on the bench, lay back, Put my ring fingers on the ring, come through, have the bar split my chest. My feet are just in a relaxed position over here. Come back through, wind up, get my back tightened up, my whole core like a ruler. My shoulder blades on the bench. Lift off, deep breath, tighten my core. Drive off my feet, come up. Deep breath, drive off my feet. That's it, that's how I do it. Now Topo's gonna take you through the exact, I'm sure I missed a lot and I don't know all the terms and shit, but shit's been working for me, but I wanna hear what Chris has to say, man. I'm ready to learn too, so let's get it, Chris.
All right, you just saw a big boy explain the bench press. Actually, like, he has a really good explanation. We were just talking about it during the break. With bench press, that was kind of more of an experience thing. So you can't read a book, and well, you can. I mean, there's books that are written off bench press, but if you really want to know how to like have a big bench press, go talk to someone with a big bench press. That's not always the case with deadlifts, because if some people just kind of go off what they feel like, or their squats, and they just kind of do shit, and then just will actually hurt themselves in the process. There's little things that you have to do to protect yourself. With the bench press, I'll just go over the two kind of bench presses that there are. First, you have like a power bench press, like big boy, like, so there's not as much range of motion that's taken away from it, but he's using a lot of legs, he's using a lot of back, and he's being in a powerful position with the hands a little bit closer. And then you have your range of motion bench pressers. So those are the people that suck their feet all the way back. They usually call them cheaters. So sucking your feet all the way back, hands are super wide, and the range of motion is very, very short. There's pros and cons to both of them. You're obviously going to have a lot more power with that type of bench press with the hands closer, using a lot more muscle groups, because like we talked about before, is distribution of power. So we want to look at that because it has more potential of an increased bench press. Once you hit your plateau with the range of motion, it basically stops at that point. As you can see, if you know anything about bench pressing, watching the bench pressers over the years, once they hit a certain mark, it usually stops like that with the range of motion. So we'll just actually go over a positioning first, just to show you kind of how you want to bench press instead of just like throwing you down first. So go ahead and stand up, Sloth. So we're going to use him as a dummy again. We didn't go over this, so it's kind of like learning on the fly. So that's why it's most organic, right? I have worked a little bit with him already on his bench press, but the first thing we want to talk about is retraction. So that's kind of like a common term, like, oh, I'm going to retract my shoulders like that. So if that's all you do, and if I come down, then I'm not really protecting my shoulder joint, right? So that's kind of like, if I went to like 24 Hour Fitness, you hear those bros saying, oh, take your shoulders back, yeah, range of motion. But that's an incomplete statement. So what I want to do is I want to take Sloth, and I want him to grab where he would regularly grab on a bench press bar, and I just want to see him retract his shoulders. And I can give you a kind of a better tool, way to actually apply it to yourself through just having him do it. So when he does that, you see the scapula has those two bones right here. They have the rhomboids, they have the rear delts, everything that supports that upper part of the back. This is actually one of the big tools that makes your spine neutral. If you watch the deadlift video, we talked about having that really short core. This is not going to be one of those times that's going to be very like beneficial for you, because we do want to play a range of motion game in this one. So as I go, I want to see his shoulders. So he has the band around in front of him. I want to see him take his shoulders all the way back, and as if I were to put a pencil right between his back, I want to see him try to hold that pencil. Okay, so go ahead now, retract your shoulders without pulling the bar or band. Move your hands a little bit more. Good. So now I want you to just pinch your shoulders. So you can't really see it right now, but he's pinching his shoulders. All right, so there's not really anything going on right here. Just stand up straight. So just pinching shoulders. He has a sweatshirt on, but it's a little harder to see. So now that's the incomplete statement, because now if I go down, I'm actually gonna have my elbows still going wide, and then that's taking a few muscle groups away from my body. So what I actually wanna do now, that will actually put my shoulders in a better position and my better position for my pressing, is I wanna flex the mid part of my back. It's called a thoracic extension. I want you to flex this and try to get your chest as high as possible. Right here. So if I look right now, put your shoulders down now, straighten your arms. Now flex that. Good. So now that's called thoracic extension. Now when I saw him do that, his chest went up about 2 inches. So now if I told him to pull his band, pull it to your chest, with your arm straight, let the band pull apart. There, so like, this will be a big thing for us, the contact part. So now you have to teach someone to go to a certain position to engage your lats. But now, since I just basically, go ahead and go out. You're getting all tired. So basically just having him pull his shoulders down and then actually anchor him in his lats. So lats right here on the side, that's the big cobra part. Now that I anchored him in that position, it was natural for him to come down right at the sternum. That's usually, everyone's biomechanics are different, but that's usually where that point kind of meets. So I'm gonna do it again. So we usually, if I have beginners, I'll have them do 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 15 on this exercise. So we'll do 5 reps. So now his shoulders are down into his lats, his shoulders are retracted, keeping that pencil right there. All right, so now take it out again. Good, so we'll just do an even pace. Good, come out. So you don't give any slack on this. Now pull again. Good, keep going. And we'll go 3 more reps. Good, 2. Good, last one. Good. So I like doing this workout prior before even bench pressing because then it actually fires those stabilizers. So these are stabilizers. So you have your primary movers and your stabilizers. Your primary movers are the ones that are actually creating that press and that eccentric. These ones are the stabilizing the shoulder so that you don't injure your shoulder. Most of the time I have guys athletes that come to me and say, I have shoulder problems. When I bench press, all I use is my shoulders. The second I teach them how to retract and then thoracic extension, so you see how much my chest rose from that. So back, and then my flex in the middle part of my back, I'm actually taking my shoulder joint out of it completely, okay? So that's the first thing I want to talk about. So we're gonna get on the bench press, we'll just show you that, and you'll see just the difference on how range of motion makes a big play in bench press. So go ahead and lay down. All right, we got him on the bench now. So you're gonna have him just lay flat so we can just see the differences of what we're gonna do. So now, just like Big Boy explained it, like I said, like he does those things and he's great at them. So I'm gonna give you an explanation behind it now. So he has his back flat, everything's flat on here, right? We won't even talk about the feet right now. So now I want you trying to dig your top of your trap into the bench as hard as you can, right? And no matter where your feet are, you always want to try and push back into where you're going, okay? Because that's creating energy. That's just like Big Boy said, that kinetic energy that shoots through your shoulders, through your lats and everything. So when you now push back as hard as you can, almost like you're going to slide off the top of the bench. Good, so when he does that, I said that thoracic extension, it actually is flexed out, and the only thing that's on the bench press now is the top of his traps. And his butt is only slightly touching the bench. That's how I know if someone's actually using their legs properly. You don't have to, in competition, you don't have to have your butt fucking flat and like squishy on the bench. It just has to be touching the bench. So people get in trouble for a lot of those things. I can go on all day about how to keep your butt on, leg drive, all that stuff, but we'll just go over the basics today. So another reason why we do this, because now, pull your shoulders down in there, really, really anchor it in. So now I'm watching when it's pressing, his lats are actually in a proper position to stabilize and create power. So it's almost like a slingshot, pulling that slingshot back and letting it go. That's where the power comes from. We'll talk about like the muscle engagement too. So having the lats right underneath the chest will actually create a lot of power in the stabilization for the elbow, okay? So that's the first thing that we always want to worry about with bench press is protecting that shoulder. And then if I just put him in this position, now he's engaging his lats, okay? So second thing I want to talk about is actually the hand position, how the way you position your hand on the bench. Let's go and stand up. Grab the bar. This is actually like beginners all the time grab the bar, they don't know how to grab it, and they just grab it. And then most of the time, like, oh, my wrist hurts, or like my wrist flicks back, and that actually causes more pain. So I use wraps too early. You don't always want to use wraps. Big Boy actually never used wraps from like 135 to 600 pounds. So it's crazy because he knows how to engage his wrist and he knows how to stack his wrist. There's actually a biomechanical way to do that in your hands. A lot of good bench pressers actually do a suicide grip, like that. But as the years went on, I just kept looking. I was like, why? Why are they using that? Why is that a better position for their hands, and why are they not using wraps because of it? So, and obviously this is very dangerous because this could slip out the front and land on your neck. So if I look at the barbell like this, and this is how people usually hold it on the top of the hand, that's just nature that it's gonna come back and then flex my wrist, all right? So what I wanna think about actually is when I grab the barbell, so my hand's like this, I actually wanna put it on the fat part of my hand. So that actually stacks my wrist naturally. So in this position right here, it's actually sitting slightly on the joint, and then it forces you to stack it. Opposed to that, which it's not sitting on the joint, and it's actually flexing back. And there's no power right here. No one ever is gonna punch you like this and knock you out. They might hurt you, like slap you in the face like a sissy, but you will never get a good punch out of that. So that's what we want to look at that. And some people, like hearing bench pressers talk about punching, they always talk about the actual fist itself, keeping it straight. I am not a believer in that at all because it puts too much pressure on the thumb. I think that a natural bend of the hand is perfect, okay? So you see the sloth, same thing. So if I'm right here, this, close your hand, this will actually bend like that, you see? It just bends naturally, right? But if I hold it in the meat of my hand right here, now squeeze it. Now it doesn't want to bend because that's actually creating power both ways. So my extensors and flexors are actually flexing at the same time. They're stabilizing, creating power that way. So go ahead and lay down now. So just set up how we just said. So I don't really want to touch on the feet too much because there's, obviously I said there's two different types of feet. You can either suck it all the way back, so suck your feet all the way back, and then push it hard as you can through the top. There's those type of bench pressers, so you see how much range of motion is taking the key to that. So he's actually, you know, creating a lot more arch. So just put your feet all over more, like exactly this way. So this is kind of the bench press that I teach. I taught Bruce this way, and then got him to 600 pounds. This is how actually Big Boy does too, because he creates so much power through his legs and his lats. So it's a case by case, but just learning those two types of bench press is important. So what I'm gonna do is actually have him grip. Just as a normal grip. We can always adjust as time goes on. So you see how he's putting his thumbs like that. That's a pretty normal grip. We'll tell you why you would do that anyways. So now you see his hands are in a position that, like we talked about before, so it's right over those calluses. Now I want him to take his hand and then turn that bar like we just told him to, and then really stack the wrist. So really put that weight slightly on the wrist. And then from that point, once it's actually on that part, the fat part, so it's called the heel of the hand. Now he can actually turn his thumbs into the bar, and that's gonna naturally bring his elbows back to a point that he can lay his joint into his lats, okay? So when I lift off, I'll put it down a little bit because we want to be able to watch him retract everything, okay? So now in that position, same thing, shoulders down. The only thing that should be on the top on the bench is your traps. Now push back, I wanna see that chest get bigger. Good. So one thing that people do wrong too is when they come down, they let their legs relax and then they try to punch through the bottom. You want to even power through your legs the whole time. They say you want to meet the bar with your body. So try to create as much help in the range of motion as possible, okay? So now that he has the heel of the hand, everything, just top of the shoulders are on the bench, we're to lift off. So this is one tool I use to teach because people don't utilize the lats enough. They always think that it's just a chest movement, which is farthest from the point. It's actually a huge lat movement, but in the triceps and the chest are able to lock it out. Okay? So I'm gonna lift it off for him, and then I'm actually gonna give him some resistance on the way down, right? Ready, 1, 2, 3. So what I want him to do, once it's, lock your shoulders down. Good, so I'm gonna give him resistance. I want him to pull the bar down to his body, and I'm gonna let go and I want him to punch it, right? Good. Punch, good. A few more, pull, pull, pull. Punch, good. Punch, good. So the reason why I do that, so even if you've been bench pressing in a 24-hour fitness, dumbbells, the one thing that you normally always see is someone always focusing on the chest. Mind to muscle is on the chest. I get a lot of people, so we have to redirect that mind to muscle kind of pathway, because the chest actually isn't the power position. It's not the power puncher, it's actually the lats. So the whole time that I'm coming down on the bench press, I'm actually loading my lats here, and then when I punch, people think that it's actually your triceps or your chest that actually initiate the punch. It's actually your lats that punch, and then when people say that elbows flaring is bad, to an extent it is, but you want your elbows to come up the same way they came down. So if you start like this, you want to end like this. So as I come down, I'm loading my lats, and as I punch, I'm actually punching with my lats. My triceps engage, and my chest actually locks out the movement. So that's probably ass backwards from how you were taught it, because most of the time high school coaches are just saying it's a fucking chest movement, all right? So when I talk about my lats, that's why Big Boy is so good at bench press all this time, because he's huge on lats. I mean, deadlifts that much, and he actually does a lot of rows his whole life. So look at sloth now. So if we're just taking through again, the lats are huge in terms of creating power. So having him pull his shoulders back, pinch that little pencil back here, and then the thoracic extension, so this part is the biggest part that I'm gonna be able to engage my lats. So having that big chest like that, right? And then so the hand position, how we learn, where our hands are perfect. He has, we talked about this earlier, like we didn't know if he had like longer arms or shorter torso. To me right now, it looks like he has like pretty long arms. So what your power position for distribution of power at the bottom position when I'm at my chest is that you want your forearm perpendicular to the floor. Okay, so like, I don't know if you can see perpendicular. So there's the floor, there's your hand, right? Or your forearm. So that's actually making sure that everything is distributed through the chest, triceps, shoulders, lats, everything. It's a full body movement, so you want the power everywhere. So if you think about the two bench presses I talked about, the range of motion or the power, a range of motion coach would say the hands need to be out here, wide enough for that the range of motion is significantly dropped. But I'm not that guy, so I don't think, big boy's not either, so we're not gonna teach it that way. So with the hand position, the hands are across, heel of the hand, stacking the wrist. That actually is able to naturally put the elbow in that position, okay? Did you feel a difference when I did like that?
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably the one biggest tip that I've actually given to people that make an immediate difference. Everything else will be second nature, or not second nature, it will be very uncomfortable. So if I ask someone to pinch their shoulders back and they're bench pressing, the likelihood of them actually unlocking them is probably a guarantee if they've never done it before. So that's why that band pull part is actually super crucial to actually knowing how to retract your scapula, okay? So we'll go over a little bit more about routine and stuff like that with Big Boy first, all right?
Okay, heavy hitters, I hope you guys got some good points. You learned some good techniques from Topo and I, and you guys learned a lot right here. These videos are for you guys, and we're preaching the knowledge that we've learned over years and years of training and years of studying, doing research on this stuff. Not me, but Chris. And yeah, just a lot of years of training, man, trial and error. So hopefully you guys don't make the mistakes that we did, and you guys learn the right way and get stronger a lot faster than we did. Chris went into a lot of detail, explained a lot. You guys might need to rewind it and keep listening and, you know, learn the positioning, the bar path, how you tighten the shoulder blades, the thoracic extension, you know what I mean? Just learn that work today. Yeah, you guys might need to replay it. Same with me, man. I'm gonna go back and check this shit out. There's always room to learn, especially from people that have so much knowledge like Chris. So I hope this helped out, huh?
Yeah, no, I mean,
this is what we're here for.
Like we talked about it too, is that like when we first started, I just watched Big Boy. I mean, you gotta watch the people that do it right and that are successful doing it. He couldn't, like I said, he couldn't use the words that like I use today maybe, but he could explain it in a way that you can understand it, I can understand it, and everyone can understand it. But he just did it the right way, and that's what I'm saying. Trust your body. You don't necessarily need education to be successful at something. He just went off how I feel. I didn't feel powerful that time. I'm moving my hands out. Maybe I don't feel powerful that way. You know, it's playing with what your body's giving you. Trust what your body's telling you, and if it hurts, that probably means you're not doing it right. So maybe try and then research to see how I can maybe pull my shoulders into my lats or whatever. But it's all trial and error. We were kidding around. I was like, I'd take your advice over my advice, anything. You're the one that bench presses 600, so there's a give and take. So make sure you educate yourself in terms of how to keep yourself safe, but you gotta trust yourself too.
Hell yeah. And then wanted to ask Jason a few questions. Jason's been working with Chris a lot lately, the past few weeks. How do you feel? Like what little tweaks in your technique, what has Chris told you that you were doing wrong before and now that you've changed?
My hand placement and just teaching me how to like use my lats instead of just lay there and bench, and mostly pull everything back, and honestly everything. I mean, everything's just been so different and different.
So using like your lats really helped on the bench too?
Yeah, and then stacking the wrist is...
Stacking the wrist? Cool. Those are things that, those are good things right there that I didn't think about for sure too. What else? What else do you think?
Probably where, like, pushing off my feet, I was always just sitting there and just laying there and benching.
Right.
And I mean, I had my arms so wide for so long that, like Chris was saying, like the hand placement so like where it is, because I hurt my shoulder, and just learning how to do it the right way. Yeah,
definitely. Like I know a lot of people that go too wide, those too much on your shoulder.
Yeah, like the front, the AC joint, all those little joints right there.
Yeah, I remember actually Pitt had that happen to him. Yeah. He was in training, someone that was training him was having him kind of max out wide grip, yeah.
Wide grip.
And I get it, like you're focusing more on your chest, less on your tries, but it's also putting more strain on your shoulders. So it just goes the same thing, trial and error too. You know, so hopefully you guys learn from this. If you guys have shoulder pain, bring your grip in a little bit, have it tighter. Use more tries than just more chest and shoulder. So yeah. Like I said, man, we do these videos for you guys. We're not getting anything out of this, you know what I mean? We just want to preach our knowledge. We want to give back to you guys for supporting us and whatever, just spit knowledge on you guys, the things we've learned, man. I get a kick out of this shit, you know. I like giving back, and we're gonna start doing stuff here at the gym too, huh?
Doing seminars and
things
meets,
like
we're
that.
trying to hold our own meets that, like, maybe not federated.
Yeah,
so
be dope to just give back and spit knowledge, man. Always want to help people and always willing to help. Like if you guys ever come to our gym, you guys can hit us up for advice and you know, whatever you guys may need, man. We're always here. And like I said, that's why we made that program too, the heavy hitter program. That's basically like an off-season program to get stronger and bigger and better yourself. And if you guys do want to compete, we have the dead game program too. That's a 12-week peaking program. That'll competition program get you ready to hit that platform. We'll go over a lot more different lifts, accessories, compound lifts, and we'll show you the exact way that we perform the lift. But if you guys want to know more on how to lift, you guys got to go get that program, and we'll break that shit down weekly. And you'll have the best program you've had and the best training that you've had in a long time. Believe me, I mean, Chris took my game to the next level. The last comp that I did at the US Open was the biggest total I ever had. I had a 2270 total, so 2,270 pound total. Never hit that shit in my life. You know, I squatted 904 that day. I squatted, I benched 587, 584, 587, and then I deadlifted like 837, yeah.
And that's after tearing his tricep.
Oh yeah, that is.
So that's us bouncing back, not getting a heavy bench press for like a long period of time. So that was the biggest thing with us. Like,
yeah, it was crazy. I mean, the biggest squat I had in comp, I think before that was like 832 or something. Yeah. So Chris took my game to the next level, and Sloth over here preached over this before, but the old program I used, I always felt beat up and fatigued. With this one, Chris really, he kind of learned my body, huh? We spoke about 100%. This, that you got to tone it down sometimes, you know, so you can go back and be rested to go hit those big lifts day after day. You can't beat your body up over and over and over and exhaust yourself before the competition. That's what I was kind of doing before. I had a good coach, shout out to him, but Chris did take me to the next level on my game, and I been injury free, been feeling real good, and man, my strength's been very consistent, you know.
Unfortunately, like that's like the trend now with programs. It's almost like a badge of honor how hard it is.
Yeah.
Like, damn, I'm beat up. This shit's beat me up. If you have any like squat programs, Smoloff, like squatting every single day, killing yourself. People wear that as a badge of honor. But what I always
like,
place
and time.
Yeah,
right?
100%. Like if you're like a beginner or off season stuff like that, that's when that stuff comes in. But my biggest point is strength is not it's not a coincidence. Is that right? So
yeah.
So there's a reason why we are where we are. It's a reason why how we do everything. It actually correlates and actually puts you to that next level, like you said. It's not an accident, basically.
Yep. Hell yeah. You gotta work for this shit, baby. We can give you the tools right here, how to perform all these different lifts. We can give you the program written out every single day. You don't even gotta think. But if you're not willing to be consistent and put in that work, you're never gonna achieve your goal. So, you know, gotta have that strong mind, heavy hitters, and that good work ethic behind it. I mean, we all have years of lifting. Even Sloth, like when he started out, he was nothing that he is today. You know, he still has a long way to go. So do all of us. But being consistent, working hard, and having that strong mindset is gonna get you there. You know. Appreciate the love, heavy hitters. Let us know what else you wanna learn. If we went in good enough detail for you guys, anything you guys want to know, or we want the criticism too. I mean, you know, if you're gonna hate, fuck it, hate. Appreciate the view, you know. Yeah. But if you're not hating and you want to critique us and know different things about different lifts or even the bench press, things that we didn't go over, we can maybe catch it on another video. But go ahead and comment also what you want to see next. We'll probably hit squat. Since that's a next compound movement, big compound movement. We'll probably hit squat, and then after that we'll just start picking accessories and different movements from here on out. So appreciate the love, heavy hitters. Keep banging.